Hi everyone, I'm the Plant Propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is a beautiful mid-November afternoon here in Southwest Florida. This is like, weather here is great, I'm loving it, these guys are really loving it. What I wanted to do today is share with you a small haul from Sundance Orchids and Bromeliads in Fort Myers, Florida. I was there the other day and I went through and really had to limit myself in what I wanted to pick up. Sundance is a little bit deceptive when you walk in there, because you go in there and it doesn't look like there's a lot of orchids. But what there is, and I found out after my visit, is there's a lot of diversity in the orchids that they have for sale. So unlike some of these other places that you go to where there's like, you can choose from like, 30 to 50, where they have just a ton of orchids. All of their orchids are out and you've got a lot to pick from within a certain type of orchid. At Sundance, you have a lot of different types that are put on the benches, and then they keep their stock somewhere else in another house. And they took me through the other house the other day, and it was a big house and there were a lot of orchids in there. So they have a real diversity of orchids. They have this, a lot of times they have the same orchids that other people have, but it may not look like they have a lot, it may not look like a big operation because their display area is smaller, but they have fewer plants, but more different types of plants, and then they have backups and additional plants elsewhere. So there was just a lot. There was a lot to pick from. I had to be very selective in what I picked up, and I don't know if you can tell from these 4 orchids, but I'm trying to go. I went with a little smaller ones this time because this is what I need. These are the types that I think I want to incorporate. The characteristics from these plants is what I want to incorporate in the plants that I'm generating. So let's take a look at these things one at a time, and I'll explain to you a little bit, if I can remember, because if I can remember, I'll explain to you a little bit what each of these plants are and how I'm going to use them. So this one right here, this is RLC Aka's Art. AKA apostrophe S Art, and the cultivar is Volcano Queen. So this is this is a small orchid. I got this thing because there's nice new pseudobulbs growing out of it, but it's right to the edge of the pot. So what I'm going to have to do right after I'm done filming this with 3 of the 4 plants here is I'm going to have to put them into bigger pots. They're just out of space in these pots. This is a really nice kind of a medium-sized Cattleya that has, and again, this is where I may struggle to remember, but I think it has some kind of like maybe some bronze or kind of a golden yellow sepals and petals, and a little bit of a darker pink colored lip. This is, I think, and I liked it because of the differences in the petals and sepals and the lip. I think this is a newer hybrid, and I'm not sure, I don't think there's any progeny that are listed from this, but we'll see how it goes. Again, I like this plant because of the colors on there. It has some nice pastel colors in the flower itself, but also because it's such a vigorous small growing plant. Okay, moving on now to this next one. This is RLC Creation, and the cultivar is Summer Choice. This is going to stay in this pot for a little while. Again, you got another bit of a small Cattleya, good nice pseudobulbs growing out of it, good root growth, but it's got plenty of room for growth in this pot. Creation is not a new hybrid, but not an old hybrid. But I like this one, and I picked this one. Good small hybrid, good good pseudobulb growth. But I picked this one because even though it's not that old, I think it might be 10 or 15 years old. This one, there's a lot of progeny plants that have already been recovered from this plant, so it can be used successfully for breeding. This one doesn't have any, any residual cane, no flower spikes that that come out of here. So this one hasn't flowered yet, but this is, I think all of these, 3 of the 4 of these I think are clones. So these are named cultivars, and these 3 of the cattleyas that I have, they're all clones. This one has some really nice, interesting flaring. And so it has some, from my memory, I think it has some purple to light colored flaring in the sepals and petals on this plant. This one, the image that I have up now, this is from actually Palmer Orchids, who lists this plant as out of stock. But this is a really nice hybrid, again, that has been used successfully in crosses. I really liked, when I looked up the color of the flower, since none of these plants were blooming, I really liked it. And again, the success that others have had with using this plant for breeding is one of the reasons I picked it up. All right, moving on a little bit to this cattleya. It's a little bit taller, and this is RLC Naomi's Delight, and the cultivar on this is SVO. Now, when you have a cultivar that's SVO, that's Sunset Valley Orchids, and this is Fred Clark, and this actually is a Fred Clark hybrid. So he made this hybrid, he named it, and he actually apparently got the award on this plant. So this is, I picked this up because I want to try some spotting. I want to try to look at I like spotting, and I want to try to get some spotting and some bigger flowers. So I've got this plant. I'm going to see what happens to it. But this has some really nice colored sepals and petals with very heavy spotting. I like the look of this flower, the picture that they had at Sundance up on the screen, up on their photo board, but also because this is just an incredibly vigorous plant. It's got to be repotted. It's got roots growing out the side, new pseudobulb growing out of the side here. So this is just a really nice, vigorous plant. It may be a little bigger, taller than I like, but that's okay. And I'm gonna see how it grows. I'm gonna see how it does. All right. So again, this is Naomi's Delight. The last one that I wanted to show you is a Dendrobium that also needs to be repotted, and this is going to be a challenge because it's growing out of the side of the pot. And also the roots are grabbing onto the pot. This one, it was listed as, and on the tag it says, Dendrobium Pixie Princess times Livingston, and then the cultivar is Mishima on Livingston. So I got this plant. This doesn't look great, but I really like the flower on this. So this has a really nice, small, delicate, maybe there was some, antelope style Dendrobium in the background of this, but it's got yellow sepals and petals, and then a really dark purple lip. Small, delicate flower, small plant growing really nicely, and again, good vigorous root growth growing outside of the pot and then grabbing on. What I'm going to do right after I'm done with this video, in addition repotting this, I'm going to harvest the pollinia from this Dendrobium. I didn't need to buy the plant to harvest the pollinia, but I like the plant also. So I'm going to harvest the pollinia and use in crosses. So I'm going to cross it onto a big white or light colored Dendrobium in my collection, just to see what I get. This name, I should say the name of this. So I looked. A lot of these hybrids are new. This is a relatively new hybrid, this Dendrobium, and this has now been named Ukulele Baby. So I'm going to use this in my crosses. I'm happy to have these. Again, 3 of the 4 of these, because the growth on these things has been apparently so vigorous. Some of these things I should mention, when you look at the tags that you get from Sundance, not on this one, but when you look on the tag, sometimes they'll put a second tag in there. This one, it says repotted. It's June 2024, so this has been a relatively but a lot of these guys, it's nice because they tell you when they were repotted, and you can get an idea of how much growth and how these plants have done since they're potting. So this wasn't repotted that long ago. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to share this video with you of a small haul, 4 new orchids, 3 Cattleya, and 1 Dendrobium type orchids. I'm going to repot, harvest Pollinia, add them to my collection, and yay. I still don't have a lot of room, but these are small plants, so I'm okay. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's it. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.